The City of York, a Masonic guide. And this particular guidebook, a bit like A Quick Guide to Freemasonry, was commissioned by Masonic, suggested by them to do. It was in line for a possible series, I believe, because there had been a City of London, a Masonic guide, that had been published a few years before this. So it's always good to do these little guides, and they work with your other books. In fact, it was only about a year before this came out, in 2015, that I'd done a book called The York Grand Lodge, which examined the full history of the Grand Lodge of All England held at York. And what this book allowed me to do was to basically publish a version of that, but in a guide format. And the images were in colour. So that was quite nice. Masonic did a nice range of guides a few years ago. And the paper quality was nice. The images were nice. As you can see there, that's the gravestone of Dr. Francis Drake, who was behind the relaunch of the York Grand Lodge in the 1760s. And he, of course, was an early member, doing the famous oration. So it's got some beautiful images. It ties in other aspects of York Masonry as well. The Yorkshire Museum there was founded by the Yorkshire Philosophical Society, which had a few members that were linked to the York Grand Lodge, like Robert Sinclair. He donated some money for the building, as did Godfrey Higgins, the writer. Here we have a beautiful membership page from the York Grand Lodge. And that's the page of the York Manuscript number 1, reproduced in colour. And that's the Merchant Adventurers Hall, where in 1726 Dr. Francis Drake gave the famous speech. So it's a great little book, really. Oh, and there's the an image of the famous York Grand Lodge board. So it was about 30,000 words, fully referenced as well, and can act as a guide around York as well to some of the historical buildings. So not only just the Masonic connections of the city. There we have the Ouroboros that was on the downspout of Charles Bathurst's townhouse in Micklegate, and Charles Bathurst was one of the early Grand Masters of the York Grand Lodge. So obviously we have a symbol there used in Freemasonry on his townhouse, which was interesting. And I was the first to actually note that and present that. So that was quite good, quite interesting. And a few pictures of some of the manuscript rolls, some old aprons. Another view of the Merchant Adventurers Hall there. And there's Dr. Francis Drake, who was a key figure in the York Grand Lodge. So there we have it, the York Masonic Guide. Beautiful little book, Lewis Masonic. Essential reading if you're a York Mason, or if you're thinking of visiting York and checking out the Masonic connections. And just to finish off, there's the Bedden, And the York Grand Lodge revived itself in 2006, and that's where they met. And I believe they're still going as a mixed lodge now. So a bit of a co-Masonic lodge. So, City of York, Masonic Guide with Lewis Masonic, and thanks for watching.